So when I was a kid, around 3 or 4, my dad came home from work with a soccer ball and basically threw the ball in the backyard, picked me up and said, play outside. You've been inside watching TV all day. Go play outside. And I was really upset because I didn't want to do that, and I wanted to stay inside playing games and watching TV. So out of frustration, I kicked the ball and then walked up to it and kicked it again. And then walked up to it and kicked it again and kept doing that. And before I knew it, like an hour and a half had passed and I was getting yelled at to come inside the house. And I realized that I was actually having more fun kicking this ball in a backyard as a little child than I did watching TV or playing computer games. And basically from that moment on, it's just been something that I've focused on trying to do. Like, it's just something that I've loved and something that I've wanted to be involved with my entire life, ever since that petulant little kick at the age of 3. My dad played a lot when he was a kid in Cleveland growing up, and he played at a very high level, so he made sure that I was playing at a similar level that he was playing in. So, as soon as I was old enough, he signed me up for leagues. At the time, we were living in England, so there wasn't really rec leagues as there were here in Canada. You still had to try out, and you still had to make sure you were good enough to be on the team. I think I've been playing organized. I started playing, I think, when I was 4 years old. And I played up until my second year at university, so when I was about 19. I've played for a few club teams in England. Growing up, I played kind of more Sunday league for Farnham Common, which was the area we lived in just outside of Slough. When I was between the ages of 10 and 12, I was on the youth setup of Reading Football Club, which is a professional soccer club that has played a few years in the Premier League. The way they do it in England is they scout kids at a young age, around 7, 8, 9, and they select them to say, hey, you're going to be playing for us. If you're good enough, you stay through the youth ranks and go up to eventually playing professionally instead of like a draft like we have in North America. And for 2 years, I was on their youth setup. I've played recreationally every so often. I haven't played organized soccer since I was at university. However, there are pickup leagues and there are, games, drop-in games that I've played since then. I haven't done anything active really in the last 7 years, so I'm a little bloated and out of shape. But whenever I know of a game or I'm invited to a game, I make sure to show up. And I do put in research every so often to find out for drop-in kind of pickup games. I know there's one on Sundays at Ossington that I try and get to as often as possible. When I was a kid, I had a lot of confidence in my own ability because of where I was playing at and thought I was much better than I actually was, so I didn't take training seriously enough. I was rude to coaches. I didn't take their advice to heart. I figured, I'm playing and this other kid's not, so I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing instead of listening to you and going to the training sessions and getting better and paying attention. I just kind of figured that I'm better than everybody else, so I'm just going to keep playing. The end result is some of those guys are playing professionally and I'm not. And the biggest thing that I learned is that as fast as you could be, as strong as you could be, as hard as you could kick a shot, as accurate as you are, the most important part to playing any sort of sport is a mental aspect. And if you don't have that, that is the difference between those that make it and those that don't, is the mental aspect of the game. You can be as talented as you want, but if you don't have the right attitude, you're not going to go anywhere. As far as coaches goes, there was Nicky Drummond, who was basically the old bald man screaming in my ear. And that instilled in me, especially as far as any sort of physical activity or athletic thing, is the concept that giving up isn't an option. It's just not a thing. If you're in a race and you're tired and the other person is gaining on you, there's no concept of you're slowing. You keep going. The fact is, there's no real thing as defeat when you're playing sports. You could be, your leg is broken, put all your weight on it, nut up, be a man. That's instilled in other aspects of my life, at work especially. I'm always the first one there, last one to leave. I'm always the one doing the double shifts. If I genuinely am interested in something and I'm generally giving my all in something, then there's no way to measure the intensity that I have. And I attribute that wholly to him, as well as one of my good friends when I was a kid, Simon Church, who ended up playing professionally for Reading in the championship. He never really played in the Premier League, but he plays for Tollerton now. He was always kind of my role model. We were similar age, lived in similar towns. He went to the school near mine. We played against each other at the school level, but we were on the same team at Reading. And he had that same kind of mentality, that just buckle down, get it together. He wasn't the most talented guy on the team, and yet out of all of us, he was one of the only people that actually played on the first team. So because of that kind of intensity, because of that effort that he put into it, whenever I try something, be it a video game, be it running, be it doing anything that it is that I'm doing, I have to give it 100%. There's no other way. There is no it's just yes or no. There's just 100%, and that's the only option. And that's 100% attributed to people like Nicky Drummond and Simon Church, who just instilled that in me completely.